Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, coming to you live from Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. Anxiety mounts over fuel supply as NNPC shuts the Port Harcourt and Kaduna refineries. Court orders federal government to produce Lieutenant Colonel Sambo Dasuki on the 16th and 17th of February for trial. Bird flu resurfaces in Plateau State, over 20,000 birds destroyed. Hope rises as two pharmaceutical companies team up to produce a vaccine for the Ebola virus disease. And a deadly attack on a Pakistani university leaves 19 people dead. A quick reminder to you that all our top stories are on our website, channelstv.com, and on youtube.com/channelsweb. And do visit m.channelstv.com to view us live on your mobile device. You can also download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS and Windows phones from their respective stores. And we urge you to interact with the Eyewitness feature in the Channels TV app on the Android, iOS and Windows platforms. If you have pictures or videos to share with us, tap the app on your device, swipe to reveal the Eyewitness menu and follow the instructions. All right, now let's take a look at some of those pictures that you sent into our portal.
The Smartphone Network.
And first, we're going to take a look at this one from Kano City in Kano State, showing a boy hawking oranges at a filling station. Our Eyewitness reporter wants the government to stop child labor in the state. We also have this one from Sokoto State showing a fire incident. Our Eyewitness reporter says this is an NNPC filling station on fire, and he's calling on citizens to be more careful with inflammable objects. Next is this one from Agbara in Ogun State, showing an accident involving a sports utility vehicle. Our Eyewitness reporter is urging drivers to be more cautious on the road. And finally is this one from Surulere here in Lagos State, showing a truck carrying a container with only 4 out of the 10 wheel knots on its front tire. Our Eyewitness reporter wants men of the Federal Road Safety Corps to be more vigilant.
Airtel, the Smartphone Network.
Thanks a lot for all your pictures. Now, two pharmaceutical companies, Gavi and Merck, have announced plans to produce vaccines to prevent the outbreak of the Ebola virus disease in the future. And they made the announcements during a press briefing at the World Economic Forum holding in Davos, Switzerland today. The $5 million deal commits Merck to make available at least 300,000 vaccines for emergency use of further clinical trials. Gavi's chief executive, Dr. Seth Berkley, said the partnership with Merck was important as many lives would be saved in the near future, while the chair of the board of Gavi, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, said the last Ebola outbreak ravaged economies in West Africa.
The partnership with Merck is really about trying to make sure that in this interim, until we have a licensed product, which of course is the critical outcome we want, that vaccine is available if there's another outbreak. So the agreement is, and it's an advanced purchase commitment against licensed product at the end. 3 components connected to this advanced purchase commitment. The first is that they should submit a emergency use authorization listing with WHO. That's a regulatory authority that would allow the vaccine to be used in the case of another emergency declared by WHO. Second, that they would produce 300,000 doses of vaccine and have those doses available in case there was an emergency. These are investigational doses, obviously. And then third, that they would make sure to submit a full regulatory application. Lastly, about this, it's very important, obviously, for the world to have this vaccine, which is the only one that had efficacy trials and therefore is the most promising available. But also, the science around this vaccine is critical because any other product that is being considered, since this has human data as well as animal data and all the great work that the Merck scientists usually do, it will frame, all vaccines. And so it's really important to do that.
As a former finance minister, I also paid a lot of attention to the economic side of it. And you remember that for Guinea, Liberia, and Sierra Leone, the World Bank estimated losses is, in a couple of billion dollars in these countries. The UN Development Program said that for West Africa as a whole, it might even exceed $3 billion. So this is just a lesson that if we don't pay attention and prepare ahead for these kinds of pandemics, it's not only the loss of human life, but can devastate the whole region economically.
Deliberations there in Davos. But now let's cross over to Abuja. Here's Linda Akigbe standing by. Linda.
Hello, Ijoma, and welcome to Abuja. Now, more farms have been discovered to be affected by bird flu in Plateau State, north-central Nigeria. According to the Avian Influenza Control Unit, the outbreak is being monitored on a daily basis, with an appeal to farmers to report any noticeable incident to the veterinary clinic.
Plateau State is one of the states affected by the Lassa fever virus. Unfortunately, the state is also experiencing the bird flu outbreak, which has claimed about 22,000 birds in about 9 farms. The Director of Veterinary Services, Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, said the first case of the disease was received on January the 8th, and all the affected farms had been depopulated.
We have had reports from NVRI that have spanned from 8th of January to date, and about 9 farms have been confirmed with avian influenza, commonly known as bird flu, and these farms have been decontaminated and the birds have been adequately buried.
One of the farmers shares his experience.
I've never seen such a devastation before, so I just think it was something that we've never had, and that is bird flu. So it's really unfortunate because we've gone for trainings and retrainings and tried to implement all we knew about biosecurity and biocontrol, but this one is, I think, is above any farmer.
The desk officer at the Avian Influenza Control Unit, Dr. Ayuba Haruna, also advises the farmers to restrict movement in and out of their poultry.
As at today, we've had almost 6 confirmed cases of the disease. I will advise to step up their biosecurity, and this involves strict movement restriction in and out of their farms, and also advise they should practice isolation. That is, they should not allow new birds from outside.
The Plateau State Poultry Association of Nigeria is calling out to its members to report any case of the disease to the Ministry of Agriculture.
We are synergizing with the Ministry of Agric, and they are also very swift. What they are doing now is as soon as they get any information on any farm that is having problems, they quickly rush there. First, even if you don't report and we get wind of it, we will have to trace where the farm is, locate the farm, and make sure that you take your samples to them.
This might just be one of the most challenging times for Plateau State, having to deal with 2 different diseases. For its citizens, what is most important is for the state government to put an end to the spread and ensure the farmers are well catered for.
Meanwhile, in continuation of the drive to position Anambra State as a center of excellence for poultry farming in the southeast and south-south regions of Nigeria, Governor Willie Obiano has flagged off an 11 billion naira modern integrated poultry farm. The public-private partnership is between the state government and Linden Integrated Farms, located in Anambra East local government area of the state.
There's much to be happy about in Ibariam, Anambra State. These 75 hectares of land have been provided by the state government to build structures to house the Linden Integrated Poultry Farms. Dignitaries from near and far are here to witness the flag-off ceremony of the project. Governor Willie Obiano does the honors. He boasts that Linden Farms is easily the largest in the southeast of the country.
What is also significant is that this farm will create direct jobs over 250, indirect over 2,500. And most of the people will be people from this community.
According to the managing director of the Linden Group, everyone comes out a winner in this venture.
The investors own 90% and the state owns 10%. In addition, the host community owns 3% in form of CSR, which is a permanent and sustainable payment when the investment starts yielding profits.
The State Commissioner for Agriculture feels confident that the facility, which would accommodate more than 200,000 birds, will be sufficient for the state's consumption.
Since independence, Nigeria has depended largely on oil revenue to finance most of its projects. Lately, however, oil prices have been on the decline, which has also affected the government's revenue. This has prompted many analysts to reiterate the call to explore the non-oil exports as a viable alternative to boost government's revenue. The Nigerian Export Promotion Council is charged with the responsibility of developing that sector of the economy. We're now being joined by Mr. Segun Awolowo, the Executive Director of the NEPC, to look at efforts aimed at developing the non-oil sector, especially in terms of boosting the nation's economy. You're welcome to the News at 10.
Thank you very much.
Now, did you foresee this situation of the declining oil prices to this level?
I will say both yes and no.
Okay.
Because we had started noticing the trend. And indeed, an international analyst had told me, came to my office some 2 years ago, and in fact he defined it. He said, look, America is going to start pumping shale oil. They've developed the technology of fracking. And so that, of course, with America doing that, it lowered prices. And America had been telling us that they're no longer going to buy Nigerian oil. And indeed, that stopped. So oil prices started going down. And he also said, look, you're going to look at a situation where Iran is going to come out from the sanctions and pour more oil.
And he just did that this week.
And did that. And so he said his own figure was like, Segun, we are looking at some $25 on oil. Then we were still in the range of 60, 70. So we had seen it.
So what plans did the NEPC have put in place for a situation like this?
We saw it. We went on a retreat when I was in office, and I told them, and I challenged my staff. I said, look, we are the next line of defense for this country, because the next line is non-oil exports. And we now went into a strategic session, and we developed key programs to drive this. One of which is the National Strategic Export Products. We identified 13 products that we'll use to replace oil. We also have our Nigeria Diaspora Export Program, a program targeted at Nigerians in the diaspora. For instance, in the UK, 2 million registered Nigerians. So they're the first recipients of our products. But more recently, we have now developed what we call our zero oil plan in response to these low oil prices. Nigeria suffered a dip in 2015 of some $30 billion. Because in 2014, our revenue was about $70 billion. 2015, it was $40 billion on oil. And so we are looking at trying to capture and recover $30 billion. Now, 2016, it's even going to be lower because you've seen what oil prices are going, and it just keeps falling. So we have a comprehensive plan. We call it our boldest plan ever to develop our non-oil. We identify various sectors and 21 countries that these products can go in, and we're setting clear output targets both in agriculture, solid minerals, and the downstream petroleum sector. I'll give you an example. Nigeria is a petrol economy. The petrochemical market annually, traded annually, is $150 billion. Why are we not part of that? We should start refining petroleum, start developing our petrochemical products, lubricants, etc., and then we export
them. Okay, that's very
so
good.
we have a bold plan in place.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Awolowo, for this plan and for joining us on the News at 10.
Thank you very much.
And that's all from Abuja. Back to you in Lagos.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Linda. Now, when the News at 10 returns, more reactions trail the downward slide of the Naira, plus an update from our team at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. And that will be on business. Do join us again.